Malcolm Turnbull, of course, had been the bloke that always did what he wanted to do. He crashed through or he crashed. He'd taken the lead in the Australian Republican movement. That didn't work out so well. He'd entered politics, skyrocketed straight into the ministry, and soon after the election loss, after Brendan Nelson's brief turn as leader, he became Liberal leader. Almost through sheer dint of personality. They used to refer to it as the Turnbull experiment, which was almost an inevitability. But then in 2009, it all came to a bitter, crashing end. He took on the party's views on climate change, he stuck to his principles, and he lost his job as a result. That was a very difficult time for Malcolm Turnbull, obviously. It was an unaccustomed experience of failure. He felt he was standing up for principle and for the policy that his party had taken to the 2007 election campaign. But in the end, he stood almost alone in the chamber to advocate that policy. And he had the very bitter experience of seeing that Tony Abbott's position on the issue, Tony Abbott, who of course once famously said that the settled science of climate change was absolute crap, was in fact popular with the voters, and Tony Abbott rocketed ahead in the polls. For a while there, he actually considered leaving politics altogether. He in fact announced his resignation, and then the minute he announced it, he realised that he'd made a mistake, that he wanted to stay in public life. Malcolm Turnbull says he's come through all of this a stronger man. His wife even went so far as to say he was now zen, although a lot of other people find that's going a little bit too far. Malcolm Turnbull's a bloke who's always looking for the next big thing. Some of his friends refer to it as merchant banker's disease. And of course, he was, prior to his political life, a merchant banker for a while. It seems now that the next big things that he looks for along the way are big ideas, and he advances them in speeches and contributions, and he has the license to do that even outside his portfolio area as a former leader. So he talks about how Australia should deal with the rise of China. He talks about what a good idea it would be should we put some of the profits from the mining boom into a sovereign wealth fund. He's trying to use those big ideas, I think, also to differentiate himself from the current state of the political debate, about which he's quite frankly dismayed. He says it's toxic and it's nasty and it's full of thought bubbles. He never mentioned or criticised Tony Abbott in that regard, but you know, the contrast is there for readers to draw should they want to do so. It was interesting to talk to social researchers and pollsters about this phenomenon, about Malcolm Turnbull, in contrast to the tone of the current political debate. And both Hugh Mackay, who's been a long-time researcher into the mind and mood of the Australian nation, and John Sturton, who's the head pollster for Nielsen polls, they both said that, in a way, Turnbull was almost the perfect politician for the times, almost the perfect antidote to the nastiness and the toxicity and the down and dirty of the current debate. Unfortunately for Malcolm Turnbull, his own colleagues aren't seeing him that way at the moment.